Hi, I'm C.C. Péan, and this is Reclaiming Your Health. Good evening and welcome to Reclaiming Your Health. I am your host and resident chef, Chef C.C. Péan. I'm so happy to be here with you this evening, and it's Taco Tuesday. Taco Tuesday is every Tuesday. We don't always take advantage of it, but we are tonight. And the dish that we are going to be making are Walnut Lentil Tacos. This is literally one of my favorite things to eat. I love lentils. Lentils are a great vehicle for all kinds of flavors. Lentils really absorb seasonings. And so wherever you're trying to take it, if you're trying to go with an Indian profile or a Mexican profile or a Middle Eastern profile, lentils are a great vehicle for that. The other thing that's going to be great about this recipe is that we're going to be using some walnuts, which have selenium, which is great for your brain health. We've been talking about brain health. And then we've got some other great things going on in here. I wanted you all to know one of my favorite lentils to use, if I don't boil them myself, is Melissa's Organic Steamed Lentils. You can get these at Costco. I think they're not Costco, at Sprouts. I think they're like $3.99. But they're great because they're already cooked with herbs. So literally, sometimes I just eat them straight out the package. They're so good. So we're doing lentils. We've got our walnuts. We've got some taco seasoning here. We've got some cumin powder. We've got some cinnamon. This is different. I love to add cinnamon to some of my meat dishes because it gives it this really unique sweetness. You know, I always talk about I like my sweet and spicy. Well, this adds a delicious sweetness to it. If you've never tried it, you must try cinnamon on your taco meat. I've got some red peppers here for my mango salsa I'm going to make. We've got a little bit of smoked paprika, some shredded cabbage. We've got some radishes. We've got some cilantro, celery, scallions. Let's go for it. So, this dish is something that I've prepared before, but I'm going to do it again. Just adding a little bit of oil to the pan because I have made a few variations. I have taken, the sun-dried tomatoes are a great addition, but my husband doesn't really care for sun-dried tomatoes, so I'm not doing it this evening. Also, you should know this taco meat is going to come out kind of chunky. If you want it to be creamier, kind of more like ground turkey or ground beef, just add a little broth at the end of it and let it cook down a little bit, and it'll give it a much smoother, creamier texture to it. But I actually kind of like it chunky. One of the ingredients that I said we were going to use was garlic powder, but I don't have any garlic powder, so we're going to use some fresh garlic. And I think fresh garlic is better anyway. I love a lot of garlic, so I'm actually going to use 4 average size cloves of garlic. Just going to chop those up. So in this mixture, we're using our lentils, we're using onion, garlic, scallion, and celery. I love the celery because, let me see, if somebody's watching, if you can tell me why I like to use celery in my dishes. I will send a free afkave spice to whomever can answer me and tell me why I like to cook with celery. Can anybody tell me? So this is about a 1/4 cup of our onion and our garlic. It's all going in my pan. Nobody can tell me? Okay, the reason I love cooking with celery is because it adds a saltiness to the dish. It adds crunch, yes, it adds texture, but it also adds saltiness. So that means I don't have to worry as much about adding salt to my dish. And you know, I'm always talking about ways to avoid salt. I'm gonna take off these ends here because they're a little janky looking. Just gonna cut up some scallion. Just a little scallion. Gonna drop that in the pan. I'm gonna do my celery now. These are some huge stalks of celery. So I only need one. And the celery, I'm just gonna cut. And just cut it in small. I don't want to cut it too small so that it disappears in the dish, but not too big either because we don't want big chunks of celery in there. It's sizzling up nicely. I am a California girl. I was raised on all kinds of cuisine. I often talk about how I grew up in Daly City, California, and fortunately, there is a large Filipino population there. So I have become very familiar with Filipino food. And actually, I just realized I have never fixed a veganized Filipino dish. So we're going to have to do that. But also, of course, growing up in California means I grew up around a lot of Mexican food. So I love Mexican food. So Taco Tuesday is right up my alley. So this is coming along nicely. It smells wondrous. Oh, you can see that. Good. We've got a good vantage point of that. And while this is stirring up, while this is cooking up, I'm going to get started on my mango salsa. I do a very simple mango salsa. Simply mango, a little jalapeno, a little red onion, and some fresh lime and a little bit of salt. Keep it really, really simple and fresh. Pico de gallo would be great with this as well. Getting rid of the skin here. That looks like it's doing well. This taco meat is great with, of course, tortillas, corn or flour. It's also great with romaine leaves. If you want to go a super healthy, low carb way, you can use romaine leaves. There are these wonderful jicama tacos that I have found at Trader Joe's. Those would be great as well. This is smelling and looking good. Let's just keep going with our mangoes for our mango salsa. Okay, that ought to do it. Get rid of that hard edge. And we're simply going to just slice it and chop it. Depending on if you want to really fine chopped, you can. But I don't want mine super fine. So we're dicing this up. It's going in the bowl. What's great about this dish too, actually, the mango salsa you can make ahead of time. You can make it ahead of time if you want to. I'm using some fresh jalapeno. Of course, you can omit the jalapeno. You can even use, if you would prefer, some red pepper flakes. I have some of those as well. Or just omit that altogether. But I like a little bit of zing when I make that. Let's see. Okay. This is just about finished sauteing. And you all are about to see how simply this comes together. Use a little bit of onion here. Let's turn this down a bit. I have a good friend, Stevie Mackey, that some of you may know. Actually, the head of this entire effort and program, Stan Mackey, is his cousin. And Stevie made a name for himself with Taco Tuesday. He is an incredible singer, vocal coach, all things wonderful. And he has taken Taco Tuesday to a whole other level. You should check him out, Stevie Mackey. He actually is a voice coach for J-Lo and a lot of people. He's awesome. Okay, that has sauteed. I'm gonna add in my 1.5 cups of lentils. Remember, these are lentils that have already been cooked. And I'm just gonna toss this around, make sure that my aromatics are good and combined. Because really, these lentils they just really need to cook through. They just need to warm through, I should say, not cook through. They've already got some base seasoning on them, so it's not going to take much for me to get it there. And now I'm going to add my walnut. So I have some chunks of walnut, but then I also have almost like a walnut meal. I didn't want it to be super chunky. So what this is going to do is it actually thickens it and it adds a little bit of texture, but not too much. My husband doesn't like big chunks of nuts. I don't mind it. He doesn't care for it. Okay. So that is coming together great. All I have to do now is add some seasoning. I'm going to add a little bit of water. Just a little bit. And to this, we're going to add our taco seasoning. Now, you can use your own taco seasoning. You can use a low sodium taco seasoning. You want to be careful with that. This is one that I have made myself with chili powder and cumin and celery powder, onion powder, garlic powder. We're going to do some cumin. Add as much or as little as you like. You know what's interesting about Mexican cuisine? There are a lot of similar seasonings to Indian cuisine. Yes, there are. So now we're doing our cinnamon. Smoked paprika is going to go in there because we want to give it kind of that smoky, almost like a smoky barbecue, kind of open flame type of flavor to it. And then we're going to do a little more onion powder. Turn this down and just allow this to cook through. I'm going to taste it in a minute and see if I need any salt. Let's see. That is delicious, but could use a few turns of salt. So I'm going to do that. We're not going to need much. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're not going to need much because remember, we're layering other flavors on top of it. So we're going to have some sweetness coming from our mango, some zing coming from our onion, a little heat coming from our jalapeno. So our taco meat mixture is done just that quickly. We've got our onion done. Now I'm just going to cut a little bit of jalapeno. Careful not to use the seed. You can use seed if you can stand the heat. Go ahead. Just slicing that up. And Gonna mince this. You know what's interesting to me about jalapenos? I feel like you can't ever really tell how spicy they're going to be. Of course, we're not using the seeds, but I feel like sometimes you can pick up a jalapeno and it can be really hot, and other times you can pick it up and it tastes like absolutely nothing. I cannot tell you why that is the case. So I'm just going to mix this up. Nice and bright and fresh. You could also add tomatoes to this if you wanted to. I'm just going to use a little lime. Squeeze it over there. I'm going to do a couple turns of salt on this. Of course, you don't have to. 1, 2, 3. That's done. Let's taste this and see. This jalapeno definitely has zing. Mango salsa is done. And what is a taco without avocado? People that don't like avocado, I feel sorry for you. Avocado is like fruit from the gods. It's amazing. So I'm going to cut up avocado here. Be careful when you do this. Perfection. Perfection. Let me give you a hint. When you're picking an avocado, the way to know if it's ready, you just pull out that little seed, and right in there, you'll be able to see the color. If the seed comes out easy, that's number one. But if you see a bright green in there, that lets you know it's ready. So be sure to check for that. There's nothing better than a ripe avocado and nothing worse than an avocado past its prime. Nothing worse. All right. So I'm going to slice up my avocado because, believe it or not, folk, we are ready to plate. I was so looking forward to this because I'm hungry. And I love that I get to eat what I prepared after the show is over. All righty. So again, I've told you there are numerous ways to serve this. You can either serve it in a romaine leaf. You can serve it in a jicama wrap that you can find at Trader Joe's. You can serve it in a corn tortilla. You can serve it in a flour tortilla. You can eat it actually on some quinoa. It would be delicious. A nice helping of quinoa, some of this walnut taco meat, and a couple slices of avocado and tomato. It would be delicious. But this evening, I am using these handmade tortillas, and it's a blend of corn and wheat from the tortilla factory. And so we're going to build this tortilla for you, this taco. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put a good portion of the taco meat in here. I like hefty tacos. Okay, we've got some shredded cabbage here. We've got the radishes. Radishes are great for you. They're great for your digestion. So I always like to have a radish somewhere in there. All right, so we're going to take a little bit of our shredded cabbage, as little or as much as you'd like. We're going to take a few pieces of our radish. And I'll let you all know that with this radish, I actually marinated it in a little bit of lime juice. I like to do that because it takes a little of the There's just a really kind of raw flavor that radishes have that I don't particularly care for. I know they're good for me, so I eat them. But if I can kind of get around that, I do. So I just took some lime juice, squeezed it over the radishes and kind of worked through it. And that's the end result. Okay, so we've got this. Then I'm going to put a little bit of my mango salsa on here. This is about to be good, I can tell. Do a slice of my avocado right on the side. And you know I love my cilantro. So we've got our cilantro that is going to go on top. And ladies and gentlemen, this is our walnut and lentil taco. 100% plant-based. No bad stuff. I'm going to take a bite and tell you how it is. I'm greedy, so I may have put too much on my taco. Let's see. That's delicious. Absolutely delicious. And what's so great about this is 100% plant-based. It's food as close to its natural state as possible. The only thing we remotely have processed in here is the tortilla. And anybody who knows tortillas knows that they are pretty much minimally processed, especially this brand I have here. We've got our walnuts with the selenium that's great for our brain health. We've got our lentils that have our protein. People are always concerned about protein. These lentils have protein. We've got mango, delicious, bright, healthy mango. We've got radishes that are good for our digestive health. We've got cabbage that is also good for our brain health. We have got avocado. We've got all these delicious things the way nature intended, close to its natural state. Delicious, easy to make. You saw how quick it was to make it. Folks, you need to make this. This is delicious. We have minimal fat in here as well, okay? We had about a tablespoon of oil that we used. The walnuts do have fat, but it's good fat. But even with the good fat, you can't go overboard. So we used like a half a cup. And this will probably serve about 8 tacos. So you've got a good amount of servings coming from these tacos. I added avocado because avocado is great for your good cholesterol. You don't have to add it if you're trying to be careful with your fat intake. But this is a delicious, healthy meal. Close as possible to its natural state. Your body will take what it needs and it will get rid of the rest. So this is my contribution for Taco Tuesday, a walnut lentil taco, scrumdiddly-umptious. Absolutely delicious. Thank you for joining me, folks. I will see you next week for another Reclaiming Your Health. I'm so greedy. I can't wait. Bye.